Hi everybody, my name is Rahul Grover and welcome to reInvent 2022 Recap. reInvent is an annual conference organized by AWS in Las Vegas in the state of Nevada in US. Due to COVID over the last couple of years, the conference was moved to an online edition only, but it was great to be back in action after a couple of years and be a part of the 50,000 plus attendees this year. Personally, this was my second reInvent and it was simply phenomenal. Some of the key themes that resonated with me during the conference were AWS reimagining a world with zero ATL. We'll talk about it, about a few services in the upcoming slides and the upcoming section. Event-driven architectures make it easy to communicate between microservices and distributed systems and help scale applications and enterprises. Tightly coupled system will prohibit enterprises to scale and evolve architecture to meet the ever-growing business needs. So you should always be designing systems that are loosely coupled. Security is a team sport, and with the ever-growing cybersecurity incidents, it's imperative for organizations to ensure that applications and services are secure right from the go-get. AWS provides a number of services, right from services securing your application at the edge to the backend system itself. And finally, architecture decision trade-offs are core to design systems. And though it's hard to always balance high performance, low cost, and security, AWS has done some phenomenal inventions with Nitro processors and other networking updates. So I highly recommend you to check out this year's edition of Monday Night Live with Peter DeSantis. And let's move on to the next section of this video. Let's talk about some of the security releases that Amazon has announced, starting with Amazon Security Lake. Security Lake has been one of the most interesting releases this reInvent. Consider organizations which have infrastructure across public clouds, on-prem, and private cloud environments, which need broad visibility across them. Amazon Security Lake automatically collects the data for security analysis at scale, saving time and cost to aggregate the data. The coolest value proposition of the service is the support for Open Cybersecurity Schema Framework, or CSF, which is a security industry open standard framework that reduces complexity of transforming logs to perform security analysis. Once the data has been transformed, the data can actually be consumed by a number of security, automation, and analytical tools. Some of them might include, OpenSearch, Athena, or SageMaker. The next pretty interesting update to an existing security service is Amazon Inspector for AWS Lambda. Amazon Inspector is a vulnerability management service that continuously scans AWS workloads for software vulnerabilities across and unintended network exposures across the AWS environments. Once you enable AWS Inspector, it'll automatically detect, discover, and monitor EC2 and Elastic Container Registry (ECR) for known vulnerabilities, and give customers a consolidated view of those vulnerabilities across the environments. The new feature, AWS Inspector for Lambda, automatically scans Lambda functions and Lambda layers upon deployment of a Lambda function or when a new CVE is actually published online. When vulnerabilities are identified in the Lambda function or Lambda layer, the security findings are generated and aggregated onto the console, as you see on the screen here. And we can also publish these findings onto Security Hub and Event Bridge for further automation. Last but not the least is Guard Duty support for container runtime threat detection. Guard Duty is a service which continuously monitors AWS accounts for malicious activity and unauthorized behavior. It provides advanced detection using ML, anomaly detection, and threat intelligence feeds. A survey by Cloud Native Computing Foundation, CNCF, found that use of containers in production has surged by 300% since 2016. As the adoption of containers skyrocket across the industry, so does the need for easy to manage container and, most importantly, its security. To cater to this ever-growing need, in 2022, Amazon announced Guard Duty EKS protection. The capability enabled Guard Duty to detect suspicious activities and potential compromises of Kubernetes clusters within EKS environment. Container runtime threat detection for Guard Duty goes one level deep and provide runtime threat detection at the container level to ensure customers' applications can run as securely as possible. One of the examples that you might consider here is this capability can help identify attempts to access host nodes from within the container itself. Let's look into some of the recent launches in data and integration space in AWS. The first one is Amazon Event Bridge Pipes. Pipes provide simple, consistent, and cost-effective way to create point-to-point integrations between event producers and event consumers. Let's consider an example. Let's say you've got a DynamoDB stream which needs to be connected to SQS. Simple architecture. But the way you want to integrate the two together is that somewhere in the middle you'll have integration code which will pull data from the DynamoDB stream and then push the events onto SQS. This is simple, but basically the glue code between the services. At times, the glue code becomes quite complex, quite fast. Pipes allow you to, along with just making the integration seamless, it also provides the capability to filter, batch, and order events. It provides high concurrency to allow large volumes of events to be processed quickly. And finally, it provides enrichment capabilities which allow for unique business logic which can be applied to the consumption of the source and can be changed on its delivery to the target. So what is the advantage of using pipes? Why should we use pipes? Pipe allows us to move faster with less integration code. It reduces less operational overhead. You have less code to worry about, less operational overhead. And also it saves costs with filtering and built-in integrations. Event Bridge Pipes takes a number of sources. Example, DynamoDB stream, Kinesis data stream, MQ broker, MSK stream, SQS, and it can connect up to 14 targets. Some of the targets include services like API gateway, ECS task, Lambda functions, SNS topic, SQS queue, step functions, etc. Where would you use Event Bridge Pipes? Some of the use cases can be you want to connect an SQS queue to a step function. You want to connect to a Kinesis data stream, to multiple Kinesis data streams, and use filtering in the way you send the data to a particular stream managed by a particular team. And one of the last example can be DynamoDB sending data to Event Bridge, and that can be done in a seamless, effective way. Let's now look into one of the zero ETL integration that AWS announced during reInvent, and this is perhaps my favorite of the integrations. And this is alleviating all the overhead that we used to have integrating an Amazon Aurora DB with Amazon Redshift, which is data warehouse. So what is this zero ETL? In a zero ETL integration, data is transferred directly from one system to the other without the need for any intermediate steps to transform or clean data. This approach can be useful in situations where data needs to be transferred quickly and effectively between systems without the need for complex data transformation or manipulation. Prior to this offering, you would probably use a database migration service or a change data capture tool to actually transfer data between Aurora and Redshift. The zero ETL integration tool also enables customers to use the current Aurora database or the new one and integrate with same existing or the new Redshift cluster as well. With the near real-time integration, customers can get access to transactional data and can leverage Amazon Redshift's analytical capabilities such as bin-till ML, materialized views, and data sharing on the fly. The last service that I'm really keen to bring to your attention is Amazon Data Zone. Imagine how many times you've been into an organization with which number of business units, and every business unit manages their data. If you want to access data from a different business unit, you have to seek access, leading in delays to the data itself, And even finding the data itself is going to be challenging as well. And most importantly, there's no single environment wherein you can get one-stop shop for all the data you require across the organization. This is where Data Zone really shines. Data Zone helps streamline and automate data discovery and sharing, and with the right governance, so that it can be accessed at the right time with the right tools for the right business context. Owners, producers of the data have the ability to see who has access to the data and for what purpose. In a nutshell, Data Zone democratizes data with governance. Let's look into some of the development-centric services that AWS released during re:Invent. The first one of the rank is AWS Application Composer. AWS Application Composer helps customers accelerate design and build of serverless applications by simply dragging and dropping the required components. As you drag components, Application Composer will automatically generate the infrastructure as code, which is pretty cool. If you're working with multiple teams, if you want to share and collaborate on a particular design and maintain an agreed model of the architecture, Application Composer will provide you the capabilities which will allow you to seamlessly share and collaborate with different team members as well. Application Composer is primarily meant for use cases wherein you want to really accelerate the way your architecture gets set up and gets ready to be used. The next one is Amazon Code Catalyst. How many times, in our experience in the software development lifecycle, especially when we are starting a new project, do we have to set up CI/CD pipeline, do the initial project file, initial code setup? All the challenges that we face around building applications, integrating tools, defining configurations, automating workflows, all the heavy lifting that is required initially that sits around development is solved by Amazon Code Catalyst. It provides blueprints that helps developers to set up the code, the CI/CD pipeline, and all the scaffolding that's required to accelerate the development. So basically Code Catalyst is nothing but a blueprint to enable developers go faster so that they can focus on their business outcomes rather than focusing on just the scaffolding to help with the business outcome itself. What you can also do with Code Catalyst is, if you have a well-defined process that you want your organization to follow, you can work on that blueprint. You can publish that blueprint within Code Catalyst and then share that blueprint across other parts of the business in your organization. Now let's jump into one of the services of compute that personally I've really worked with heavily, which is Lambda. And Lambda has a new capability or a feature now that is known as Lambda Snapshot. And Lambda Snapshot virtually eliminates the cold start process by creating a snapshot of the Lambda function and bypass the usual initialization process. This process reduces the cold starts by up to 90%. Once a customer has enabled Lambda Snapstart, the functions needs to run only one time for the feature to take effect. After the standard initialization is done, Lambda Snapstart takes an encrypted snapshot of its state and caches that for future use. When the function is triggered again, Lambda Snapshot grabs the cached snapshot instead of running the initialization phase to start up the function. Now, Lambda Snapshot is available to all Lambda users, but it must be enabled before use. In the initial rollout that has been done by AWS, Lambda Snapshot is only supported for Java using the Corridor runtime, but that is certainly something that will come up for other languages as well as we speak. Thank you everyone for listening in. Please feel free to share your thoughts, comments, feedback on this recap. I would really appreciate it. Good luck and have a fantastic year ahead.